James Carter, a middle-aged white cop with a stern face and sharp eyes, stood by his window, his gaze darkening as he saw a tall black man pushing a trash cart down the street. His 8-year-old daughter, Emily, ran to the gate, beaming as she took a treat from the man and handed him one of her favorite cupcakes in return. The man was Daniel Brooks, a sanitation worker in a faded orange uniform, a worn-out cap sitting on his head. James had been watching Daniel for a while. Something about him felt off. He didn't just do his job, he lingered, glancing around the neighborhood like he was looking for something. But what bothered James the most was how close Daniel was to Emily. "Do you like this cupcake?" Daniel asked with a warm smile, handing her a small buttery treat. "Yes, I love it. Thank you, Mr. Daniel." Emily grinned, taking it eagerly. James's brows furrowed. Why was a trash collector acting so friendly with his daughter? He had to dig into Daniel Brooks. When he finally pulled up the man's records, his face stiffened. Daniel wasn't just some regular worker, he had been to prison. James slammed his laptop shut and stormed into Emily's room. "You are not to talk to that trash man again." His voice was firm. Emily looked up, wide-eyed. "But why? Mr. Daniel is really nice to me." "You don't understand, Emily. He's not a good person. He's been to prison." Emily hesitated, her small hands clutching the cupcake. "But he feels familiar, like I've known him forever." James felt a pang in his chest but pushed it aside. "I said no. That's final." He had no idea this decision would be a mistake. James's rule couldn't stop the bond between Emily and Daniel. Daniel still met her in secret, even knowing James wouldn't allow it. After spending enough time with her, Daniel gave her a gentle smile. "Go inside, Emily. Your dad will be really mad if he finds out." Emily folded her arms. "I know, but I don't care. I just want to see you." Daniel chuckled, but there was sadness in his eyes. Eventually, James caught them. Rage burned in his chest as he marched over and yanked Emily behind him. "How many times do I have to say it? Stay away from my daughter." His voice was cold, his eyes sharp as steel. Daniel didn't flinch. He let out a slow breath. "I never meant any harm to her." "Then don't ever come near her again." James barked. Emily burst into tears, clutching her father's sleeve. "Dad, please. Mr. Daniel is a good person." "No ex-con is a good person," James snapped. Daniel knew he wouldn't change James's mind. He just bowed his head, then quietly walked away, pushing his cart down the street. James felt uneasy. He was convinced Daniel had manipulated his daughter and refused to let her out of his sight. But soon he had to leave for an important work trip, one that could decide his promotion. He couldn't take Emily with him. He wouldn't be able to care for her properly. Sighing, James confided in his longtime friend and fellow cop, Michael Evans. Michael chuckled. "That's easy. Leave her with me. I'll look after her like my own daughter. Don't worry, no black guy will get near her." James exhaled in relief. If there was anyone he could trust with Emily, it was Michael. She was comfortable around him. There was nothing to worry about. He had no idea this decision would change both their lives forever. As soon as James stepped out of the airport, his phone rang. It was Michael Evans. "Mike, what's wrong?" James asked, exhaustion in his voice. Michael's panicked breathing came through the line. "James, Emily's been taken." James froze. His heart pounded. "What?" Michael spoke fast, his voice shaking. "I watched her closely, I swear. But she snuck out to see that damn trash man. I tried to stop her, but he grabbed her and ran." James's grip tightened on the phone. Without thinking, he jumped into his car and sped off toward Daniel Brooks's address. In just 10 minutes, James was there. He didn't knock, he kicked the door open. Daniel stood in the middle of the small, worn-down house, startled as James and 2 officers stormed in. "Where is she?" James roared, grabbing Daniel by the collar and punching him hard. Daniel stumbled, blood dripping from his lip. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb." "Where's Emily?" James's rage boiled over. Daniel's face went pale. Realization dawned in his eyes. "Is missing?" His voice cracked. "Oh God. Cut the act. You think I'll believe you? One of the officers snarled, shoving past Daniel to search the house. But there was nothing, no trace of Emily. Then Daniel's phone rang. The room fell silent. He picked up with shaking hands and put it on speaker. Emily's voice came through, small and trembling. Mr. Daniel, help me. I'm locked in some mansion on a hill. I don't know where. There's a big mountain behind it. The line cut off. James and Daniel locked eyes. The hatred between them vanished, replaced by sheer terror. No words were needed. They bolted for the car, heading straight for the only place that fit Emily's description, John Matthews's estate. By the time they reached the mansion, night had fallen. They slipped in through the back, moving down an empty hallway. Voices drifted from the living room. She's a real gem. Fair skin, pretty face. I'll wipe your gambling debt clean, John Matthews said. Another voice responded, smooth but eager to please. James's blood ran cold. It was Michael Evans. Of course. I always pick the best, John chuckled, pouring a glass of wine. Aren't you worried? Her father's a cop. Michael scoffed. That idiot? He's probably busy killing that black bastard right now. James snapped. He and Daniel charged into the room. James tackled Michael, slamming him to the ground, while Daniel knocked Matthews out with a single punch. They didn't waste a second. Sprinting upstairs, they found Emily locked in a room. Her tear-filled eyes widened as she saw them. Dad, Mr. Daniel. James freed her, pulling her into his arms. Daniel scanned the area, wary of any surprises. Then, footsteps. A group of John Matthews's guards stormed in, guns drawn. They were trapped. A brutal fight broke out. James shielded Daniel and Emily as they fought their way out. But in the chaos, one of the guards grabbed Emily. She struggled hard, then suddenly lost her footing, tumbling down the staircase. Emily! James and Daniel screamed together. Daniel dashed to her, lifting her limp body. She was unconscious, her face pale. Without hesitation, they bolted for the car and sped to the hospital. No one dared to stand in their way. At the hospital, the doctor looked grim. She needs a blood transfusion immediately. She has type A blood. Do any of you match? James stiffened. I'm type B. That made no sense. A father with type B blood couldn't have a daughter with type A. Daniel remained silent for a moment before speaking, his voice trembling. I'm her biological father. I have type A blood. I'll do it. James stood frozen. Years ago, Daniel had been married to Emily's mother. One drunken night, she had gotten into a car accident, killing someone. Desperate, she had begged Daniel to take the blame so their baby wouldn't be born with a mother in prison. And he did. When he was released 8 years later, he discovered the truth. His wife had married James and made him believe Emily was his daughter. She had died giving birth, leaving behind a tangled mess of lies. James lowered his head. He had hated Daniel for so long. But now he saw the truth. Emily finally woke up after surgery. Seeing both men, she immediately threw her arms around them. Dad. Daniel froze, tears spilling down his face. Even though he knew she was calling James, not him. James placed a firm hand on Daniel's shoulder and nodded. You don't have to stay in the shadows anymore. Let's raise her together. For the first time, two men who had once been enemies became family.